Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
This is Marina.
This is Jessie.
And you are listening to our podcast.
Podcast for writing 151B.
Yes.
The second quarter of our copy editing class.
Exactly. So, Jessie.
Today, yes.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about?
We wanted to talk about the different kinds of writing and certain tropes and stereotypes about them. It's a brief overview of what you might be getting yourself into if you're going to start college soon.
Exactly. We are going to be entering the workforce, and so we thought it'd be a good idea to talk about some type of writing that people can get into when they get out of college, and yeah.
Pass our knowledge down.
Exactly.
Okay, well, let's just get started. The first category, poetry.
Yeah, poetry. Love poetry.
Gotta love poetry.
Love poetry. I actually have a friend who just published a poetry book. It's like super interesting how you like go about that, because it's kind of like different than other genres, I guess, of literature.
Yeah, there's a lot of freedom with poetry. You can write about really personal things or really whatever.
No, exactly. But yeah, what she did in order to like get her poetry published is she like submit her poetry into like several different competitions, and then like won something and got like attention from like a publisher by winning a bunch of comps, and then they published her poetry into a book. And
super cool.
Yeah, you can buy it at Barnes & Noble now.
I actually took a poetry class here at UCSB.
Oh, really?
Which was great. I learned a lot. It's kind of weird with poetry because the biggest piece of advice that I heard was, like, there is no right way to write poetry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to be, like, judging what you write, but the most important thing is to work on shortening your lines.
Yeah, I think I'm like not a huge poetry person, but I think it's super interesting because it's like it's so much on rhyming.
Yeah.
I think
the beats for sure matter.
And there's like so many different types of poetry too. It's so interesting because like a lot of like rapping is almost like poetry, which I think is so funny. But yeah, I think it's like, you know, definitely it's like you have to have a way with words in a very short.
For sure. Poets can also have the common stereotype of being like snobs.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I don't know, it's harder than it seems. Like, how do you write good poetry? You learn like iambic pentameter or whatever it's called.
Haiku.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Remember being in elementary school?
I can write a mean haiku, yeah.
Haiku. But yeah, you can always get into poetry, you know, it's, you could do it. There's like a genre for it, if you're into that, and even as like a side hustle. My friend did it as like a side hustle.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know.
I just feel like, like millennial poetry. It's like that.
Milk and Honey.
Milk and Honey, yes. That's like a little bit.
Yeah, that's like the, like, if you don't know what Milk and Honey is like it was like a poetry book that became
like one line.
Yes.
That was almost trying too hard to seem deep.
Yeah, it was like
by being minimalist.
Yeah, it was like this ironic poetry book that became very popular amongst like the young generation. I think in like 2014,
around then,
something like that. But I remember being in like middle school or like late elementary, and it was like
drastically overhyped.
Yes, everyone had their Milk and Honey books.
Right. It was some good cover art though.
For sure. And then next we have journalism, which is like so much journalism.
People do
so
say
journalism
is dying out.
Do you
think it's dying out?
Yeah, it is scary, you know, with AI and everything. Like, oh my god, like what's gonna happen to journalism? But I don't know. It's like I don't. Like right now, we're recording this in the KCSB music studio.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Marina.
Shout out to KCSB. And yeah, even tomorrow they're having a music journalist workshop, because it's like it's an art form, you know. Like being a music journalist is an art form, and like thinking about music, even like writing on just like music drama. Oh my god, like the Kendrick and Drake
A lot
drama.
to dig into. Yeah. Speaking of rap.
Yeah, talking about rap, yeah. Ooh, the levels were quite loud for a second there. Sorry about that.
But also there's like a bunch of different areas that you could focus journalism on.
Yeah.
So that's how it's flexible in that way, like fashion journalism,
Exactly.
or just straight up, the news.
Yeah,
Which I think that there needs to be something better happening with that.
Yeah, I know. It's so scary because it's like I took a communications for news class, and it was all about like news journalism. And it's just a scary thing because, it's like there's so many like news conglomerates out there, and it's like the way you get your news is like, it's just so like, I don't know. It's
You
hard.
just see a headline.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's almost like reading like a Facebook article or something. I'm like, is this true? Like, what is this?
Right, but like I feel like the biggest thing they're all based off of is like clickbaity type. Well, they emphasize like the dramatic aspects of a story.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun in its own way, but it can be dangerous.
Exactly, especially when it comes to like spreading misinformation.
For sure.
But there's so many different types of journalism, like you said, music, fashion, the news. There's people who like even go to like foreign countries.
Yeah,
to,
like travel journalism.
Travel
for
journalism,
sure.
and like even like war journalism. Like there's people out there right now.
Which I just think the thing that I like about journalism is that it's from your perspective.
Yeah.
Well, so is poetry and like all writing. Sorry, what I'm saying, but like your recounting of certain things.
Yeah, especially
there's less rules. Yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly. I think like journalism is like probably one of the most exciting, in my opinion, personally.
Right.
Yeah, because it's just like, I don't know. It's like so much like option for voice. You can like really use your personality
and build it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then if people like your journalism pieces, then that means they like your voice, your writing voice.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's cool.
Oh yeah. Before we get to the next one, though, like the thing that I wanted to talk about though is it is like so scary, like what we were saying, like with the flashy titles, because it's like there are less and less people who want to like read,
who care enough
too. And so yeah, a lot of journalists are like going to like these really flashy titles, which is really scary, but it does get attention, so but it's a bit of a bummer.
Exactly.
But yeah, next we have creative fiction.
Yeah, creative fiction. So people who write novels.
Yeah, and that one's like, I guess, like a certified classic.
For sure.
When you watch a rom-com, it's like you got your creative writer, someone's trying to publish a book or something, and it's like, yeah, you have your manuscript.
Very classic. I think that the thing that, I guess, an issue you could run into with creative fiction is I feel like you'd be more prone to writer's block.
Yeah.
Or you have to do a lot of like mapping out. So I'm not sure, but I imagine like a crazy storyboard, almost like crime scene investigators have, when you're like mapping out all the characters' arcs and like your plot line too. That seems like a lot of work.
It does, but it pays off. You get your manuscript, you get your publisher, and then you put out a book. And then, go to Barnes & Noble and buy it.
Right. New York Times bestseller.
New York Times bestseller. Everyone's a New York Times bestseller, I guess. Somehow.
Right.
But yeah, after that, we have science writing or legal writing.
Yeah, just in general.
Yeah, academic writing.
Like the people who write textbooks.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you end up with that career. No, I'm just kidding. That sounds a little boring, but it's probably like if you are like an expert in a certain topic.
Exactly. Like we're at UCSB, which is a research or institution, and so we have so much research that comes out of here, and that has to be in written words. So there's like a lot of opportunity to write. I think even our professor Craig was talking about doing copy editing for like professors and their research, because it's it's a lot of pages, a lot of work, and it's definitely tedious.
The main like experience I have with that is I have a psychology major, and we do a lot of research for like mock experiments and stuff. I do like it, like digging up I don't know, all the quotes
Uh-huh.
to back up your own thing, but
Yeah.
it
No,
can be treacherous.
it is. It is
All
fun.
the tabs popped up.
Yeah, it can be treacherous though. But people like it. People love it. Legal writing, there's a lot of money in that. You know, that a lot of people are depending on, and whether, you know, what you're writing is like, if it's good or not, you know, it's like
More
there's
technical for sure.
Exactly.
Like there's rules, way more rules for like how you're supposed to say
definitely
certain thing.
more technical.
With that, you have like less opportunity to have your own voice shine through as a writer.
Yeah, I know. I took legal writing with Genova, Professor Genova. We both have her, and it was hard. It was a hard course because there is like different, you know, with like making briefs and stuff like that. It's like it can be really tough, but it's definitely rewarding once you do it, for
Very much
sure.
So, yeah, for sure.
And then after that, we got some marketing. If you want to get into writing for
Advertising
marketing,
or
yeah.
something. Yeah, just in those spheres.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much opportunity for that. Like, this is like, you know, the one that you see, like with iPhones and computers, you see that everywhere.
You know, writing up some terms and conditions
Yeah.
or something, or maybe like
Yeah, like accepting to
commercial
some
scripts.
cookies
I don't know
on.
if that applies.
Yeah.
Like Dawn Dish Soap or something.
But yeah.
Right, yeah, like catchy slogans or something. That could
Yeah.
be cool.
Yeah,
but,
even like
writing.
when we had what's her face come and talk from Condé Nast, she was what was it called? Oh my god. She did like writing for like the website for the New Yorker, and it was like making sure that like it was like very concise and it was brief, and like people got a quick message from like just a couple words.
Yeah, you have to be someone who's good at like using buzzwords,
Yeah.
like to get people to
Yeah.
associate certain like connotations with, I don't know, whatever product or, you know, thing that you're talking about is.
Yeah, I'm being really strategic. And then after that, we have classic copy editing.
Yes, save that.
Gotta save that
Save
for
the
last.
point for last, yeah. Super flexible copy editing.
Yeah.
I feel like if you do any sort of courses on copy editing, or, you know, for a degree or anything, you can pretty much guarantee that you'll get a job in something writing, because
Yeah.
it's less nuanced. You can be a copy editor for poetry, for journalism, for creative fiction, for scientific writing, business marketing writing, etc. So you can really just
Yeah. I know
have
there's
a lot of flexibility.
it's another one that, you know, you can make a bit more money from, you know. And even with like apps like Grammarly or even ChatGPT, like there's things that they can't find. Like,
Yeah.
you know, they can fix your spelling, but I don't think they can fix your grammar that well. Maybe like a comma, but I think that's pretty much it.
I mean, we wouldn't know.
Yeah.
How good it is.
But yeah. But yeah, they need like real copy editors out there, like real life
They
people.
do. And yeah, that's part of the reason why I took this minor. I liked the idea that I don't have to choose now, or like settle down on
Exactly.
one of these other previously mentioned genres. But I've perfected the technical aspects of my own writing, and I know how to like avoid a lot of common mistakes.
Yeah, I completely agree, because it's like, you know, I look at my work and there's even so much more. Like, I just want to like look through like the past course content, because it's like there's so many things to fix, so many things that you don't even like realize that you need to fix until taking this course, because they're not like, you know, the standard like, you know, common grammar error, but they mean so much, you know.
Or they're just so widespread that
I know
like,
exactly.
everybody does it. Yeah,
exactly.
Like, not putting a comma before a coordinating conjunction.
Yeah.
For example. Just kidding. We don't need to get into that.
Yeah, I know this is gonna turn into like the breakdown of our past two
101,
quarters,
yeah.
101. But yeah, thanks for listening. That's some great careers that you can get into writing. And yeah, Jesse, do you want to say
Thank
anything?
you for this opportunity, Marina, and it
No.
was great and very fun to do
Yeah,
this podcast.
no, it's all good times. You're listening to our podcast. Good. Great.
Catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side. Okay, bye.